Welcome to Therapist Take. We are going to talk about the question that comes up a lot in therapy, which is my partner a narcissist? So don't go anywhere. Hi, Carrie.
Good morning, Josh.
This is a great topic. It's a funny topic to me because I'm like, we're on camera,
I know.
broadcasting ourselves out to everybody, talking about are other people narcissists?
I know. We've been making lots of good jokes.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the media and stuff where they're like they talk about things that other people are doing, but they're doing the exact same thing by talking about it.
Yeah.
Like
But
we don't want to give them any more.
But let's distinguish this a little bit by saying we're trained mental health professionals.
That's right.
So
We're trained narcissists,
right? We know how to spot it because maybe we've mastered it.
We have mastered narcissism.
We have, yeah. Expand on that, yeah.
So I stopped our conversation earlier because I was like, "Ooh, I want to ask this when we're rolling here." But do you think when your light's on your phone, like when you turn your flashlight on by accident?
Of course.
Do you think that's like the new fly being down?
You've said that to me before.
Have I?
Yeah.
Did you agree with me? I couldn't remember. I was caught up in my own world.
I mean, in the sense that you're embarrassed because it's kind of a
But
silly
people say it to
forgetfulness.
you like you need to turn hey man, your flashlight's on.
Yeah. I think it's the same in that they're being helpful, right? You zip up your zipper, turn off your flashlight, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that part is.
But then you like turn it off. You pull your phone out. You like turn it off when they're not just like you would when you're zipping.
You turn
your fly
around and
up.
zip your fly.
Like, turn on and see them. Let them see me turn.
So that was the question you were saving for the podcast?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something like related to the topic.
Okay. Well, in tying that into narcissism.
Okay. All right.
I was saving
Good
it.
luck.
It hit me in Never mind. Let's move on.
Okay. All right. Good.
All right. Well, Xander, welcome to the show over there.
Hello.
I like to have just us, and now that Xander, as a producer, also chimes in from time to time, I was kind of looking forward to just being us this time and without a guest, so that the three of us could chat. So I look forward to hearing from you too today, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so thanks for being here.
Yeah.
But this is a topic that I was just thinking about, like what topic should we do as we're kind of in between guests, and then you and I are going to have to talk about if we're going to take a break for the summer,
Right.
like we did last year. And I was like, what's a common question that's asked? And this is something that people ask a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is my partner a narcissist? And also too, like, we also have partners come in that say, like, do you think I'm a narcissist?
Sure.
Because they're being accused of that, or it's being suggested somewhere.
Yes.
So it'd be something worth talking about.
Yeah. I think it is. I think people, or as my parent,
Right.
that kind of stuff, right? And so I think it's kind of in the zeitgeist, right? And part of our job as clinicians is to be excited when, mental health concepts are kind of used amongst the population, but then also we have to be mindful of where they're being misused, right? Or when they've been spread too thin. And I think that's kind of part of what we're going to talk about, right?
Right. Zeitgeist. That's a fun word to say.
It is a fun one.
Xander, do you hear that a lot in your sessions?
About narcissism?
Yeah. Do you? Is the question being asked?
Yeah, well, I think it's often a way to minimize responsibility. So, like, somebody will come in and say, well, my partner and I broke up because he's a narcissist, or because she's a narcissist. And so it's kind of like, I don't, it can be a defense mechanism, right? I can't share the blame in this. And so maybe not always. And certainly narcissism does exist.
Yes.
Watch out for that. But I do think it can be overused.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about that a little bit, like the cultural explosion of the word, because it's definitely it falls into the category of one of those mental health words that when somebody out in the world says it doesn't mean what we know it means.
Right.
As mental health professionals. So it is being used a lot. I don't know if it necessarily, like when you say like minimizing responsibility, I was like, think we should be clear on that. Like, I don't know if it necessarily is like I'm not willing to take responsibilities. Like, there's something more complicated going on, and it might be the best I can understand it. And there's this word out that we've assigned to it in our culture of being, self-focused and being narcissistic.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, to zoom out and be postmodern a little bit, like all the diagnoses are just a abbreviated way to describe something, right? I mean, there's not a gene that makes you a narcissist, right? There's not like a brain scan that shows us depression, right? I mean, it's like it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so we say depression because that word means these symptoms. And I think we say narcissist is my partner, whatever. It's an abbreviated way to say there was something really unhealthy, right, about our relationship or this person, right? So I do think the overuse is probably the intent of it being just really a way to abbreviate and kind of shortcut to an understanding. And maybe it's an avoidance because you don't have to critically explore what's going on. But I think that's kind of how most people are trying to use it.
Yeah, I think it can be, it's just a way of communicating something. And I often think that people are using it to communicate how they felt in their relationship.
Yes, I think that's true.
I think often shows up as I didn't feel important, or I didn't feel like there was empathy for me, or like I didn't feel validated by my partner in this way.
Yes.
It seemed like everything was about them, right? And so I think it's where it shows up most often.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys know because it comes from Greek mythology, right? That's what we were just talking about.
Yep.
I can't remember the actual
story.
story. I just know the character.
So the story, as I remember it, was that there was a nymph, right? So again, go back in time into ancient literature.
Right.
And she, her name was Echo, and she was in love with Narcissus. Am I saying it right?
I think so.
But he did not return her affection. And so he was, I guess, cast a spell or something.
Cursed.
That's the word I was looking for. To fall in love with his own reflection in the water. And he became so obsessed with his own image that he didn't eat or drink and he died.
Oh, that's awful.
Well, and so
I was like, he must have been really pretty.
Yeah, I know.
and then he became a species of flower now, right?
Yes,
Like,
and then he
a
turned into the
daffodil.
actual Narcissus flower, which is
flower, yeah.
white and yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it oftentimes grows near bodies of water, and it will kind of
wow.
like
Yes.
incline over the edge of them. Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a good, I mean, all those stories are cool
Do you guys
stories.
think that really happened? I'm trying.
Well, the nymph part, I'm not sure about.
Yeah, that's the only part I'm not sure about. Yeah.
The rest, maybe.
The rest,
I
totally.
love the Greek stories. Sisyphus is one of my favorites, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool background to what it is, and I think that's probably how people are thinking of it.
That's what I think too.
In term, even if they don't know the story, that's the influence
Right.
of it.
Right.
Right. But for us, like when people come in and they're like, "Do you think my partner's narcissistic?" My mind goes to the clinical diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. Right. And so it's the answer is often kind of like a yes or no, yes and no. Very rarely have I seen somebody that I think probably qualifies as narcissistic personality disorder.
Yeah.
Do you think we could put that graphic on screen, or do you have it on there already?
I'll be looking for it.
Okay. Yeah, but when you look up the, clinical diagnosis numbers, it's anywhere between 0.05 and 5% of the population.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's quite a wide range.
Yeah.
Is it 0.05 or is it 5%?
Right, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a huge range.
And so that almost isn't even like a helpful thing.
Yeah.
And then I also think, of course, anybody who's critically thinking about this is going to be following this track very easily. Why would a narcissist ever go present themselves in a mental health setting, right? I
That's how I feel
think
about it.
that's how I feel about it. And I don't think that happens very often. And I think the times that it is somewhat, evident and gets a diagnosis and becomes part of a research project is probably because there were external things going on, right? That they were there because there was a trauma, right? They're there because they I mean, maybe they were dangerous,
Right.
right? There was some kind of crime. And so I think that it is a really hard thing for us to actually answer the question of how common is it,
Yeah.
right? I just think the truth is we don't really know,
Yeah.
which
you're
is
right.
not very comforting.
Well, let's talk about the personality disorder part of it.
Okay.
So narcissistic personality disorder, and we'll put like the diagnostic criteria on screen and a little graphic there with some key features. Comes from the DSM-5, which is our diagnostic manual for so that's what we use as mental health clinicians to diagnose. And maybe I didn't research this before we came in here, but there are 8 personality disorders. So maybe you think among the 3 of us we can come up with the 8?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe
Because there's paranoid personality disorder, histrionic,
dependent,
dependent,
borderline,
narcissistic personality disorder.
narcissistic. Yeah.
That's 5. Histrionic.
You already said histrionic.
Yes,
So histrionic of you.
Schizotypal. Maybe. Schizoid.
Schizoid. Yeah.
Schizoid. That's right.
And bipolar personality disorder.
Bipolar.
Or
sorry.
obsessive compulsive.
Obsessive
Yeah, I was
compulsive
going to
personality
say.
disorder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
OCD personality disorder. Yes.
Yep.
Which could be a whole different topic on what's the difference between obsessive compulsive disorder and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. But that's for another time. But so there's these 8 types, and one thing I remember from grad school is when we were studying personality disorders is they're actually pretty complicated to work with when we're talking about being facilitators of change.
Right.
Not necessarily like they're like the people aren't willing to work. It's just like when you're trying to create certain types of changes, it's like that. It's hard to do that when this is part of their personality.
Yeah.
Like it's who I am. So that's the reason why when you say it's hard to think that one would willingly, a truly narcissistic
NPD,
person, NPD, would come into therapy is because they probably wouldn't think they needed it,
Right.
And so my default when with my clients is that they don't. That's my default position.
Okay.
Because of that, what you just said.
Okay.
With that, and that's how it is with like all these personality disorders. Is that there's certain kind of nuances that we have to address because this is part of their personality.
Right.
This isn't like just something they're struggling with. It's part of their makeup.
Right.
Or at least it is now at this point.
Yes.
So, how do you think about it? Is that how you've conceptualized it, Xander? In terms of, have you thought about it that way? Of like, they typically don't show up to therapy.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. Because I think really truly examining this would be dangerous for kind of the self in the way that it's identified. I agree that it's often characterological. Am I saying that word right? It's like a part. I guess it's probably some mixture of nurture and nature,
right,
to some degree. But I did. I don't know if you want to hop into the criteria, but I was going to talk a little bit about some research I saw about parental overvaluation. So I had initially thought that probably narcissistic traits are brought up by kids. There's a lot of factors, but one might be kids that aren't getting a lot of attention from their parents, and so they kind of create this overcompensation to manage that. But we're seeing that in the research that they did some research about parental overvaluation, and there's like a scale you can take, and the questions on the scale are like, my child is special, or my child deserves special treatment. And we're seeing that parents who score high on this scale have kids who demonstrate more narcissistic traits. And this is interesting. We didn't talk about this earlier, but in the myth, initially Narcissus's parents were so impressed with him. They thought he was so handsome and kind of cool as a baby. They brought him, right? Yeah. They brought him to an oracle. I forget that. Oh, Tiresias, I think, is the name of the oracle. And the oracle says, Narcissus is fine. He'll live a long and healthy life as long as he doesn't get to know himself. And then, so the parents see their kid and they're like, oh, wow, this guy's so special. He's so amazing. So I wonder if they, as part of the myth, kind of overvalued their son. And then he had this kind of internal kind of like a false self that was built upon their evaluation
Their
of
perception
him.
of him.
Right,
Yeah.
instead of his own
Which that would
identity.
speak to nature and nurture again.
Well,
Because
sure.
our narcissistic people raising narcissistic children,
Sure.
overvaluing, well, if I'm going to have you, you better be great because you're an extension of me. Is that a
Well,
genetic component? Is it a
Sure.
learned? Of course, it's all,
Right.
everything is a both and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have to think though that the overvaluation of children, like it's like how do you create a narcissist, right? Like, and if that's part of it, then it's somewhere in there that has to I feel like has to replace love. You know what I mean? Like, because that sounds like how you're almost saying like that we're overly loving our child, overly
Right.
like admiring and doting and doing. I was like, but I think it's done in a way where that becomes the thing, and like, and it's replacing the safety and comfort that I find in just being.
Right.
Which is what kids should feel
Yeah.
when that I can just be and I don't have to be special
Yeah.
to be special.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah. So
And-
go ahead.
Well, I was thinking of, I think it was, is it Bradley Shaw, Bradford? I can't think of his name. Who's written a lot about shame.
Oh, John.
John Bradshaw.
We always do that. We always mix it
Bradley
up.
Shaw.
Yeah.
John Bradshaw. And one thing that he said about like in the when it comes to what he calls narcissistic tendencies or narcissistic needs is what he calls it in children. He's like it's a parent's job to meet your children's narcissistic needs. So like your kid comes to you and says, "Look at what I drew," and you're like, "That's amazing," you know. You have no clue what it looks like, and it's really terrible. You know, but you don't say that to him. You're like, "It's amazing.
Yeah.
You did that all by yourself. Wow. You should be proud of yourself, right?" And it's like what the parents are doing is they're acknowledging the existence of that child as special, and over time, the child learns to for themselves that they themselves are a real person that is seen and heard and respected in this world, and I don't necessarily need that. I don't need that validation from the outside world as much as I would have.
Because I've got a secure image of self.
Right.
Yeah.
Which initially we gain from
Right.
the people around us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Identity is co-created in that way initially.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about is kind of the opposite of that. It's not too much love. I think it's a lack of love because as a parent, I say I only love you
That's right. Yeah.
if you meet
Are
certain
special enough.
qualifications that I have set, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the client who comes in and says they were forced to take ballet lessons because their parents never got to take ballet lessons.
Right.
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 And so then it was like my identity is built upon the way that other people see me.
Sure.
Right.
And I can't manifest that on my own, right? And then, of course, that can lead to all sorts of things. But I think it often is that victim can be a kind of a victim
yes,
feeling, which is like
yes.
everyone's out to get me. and
Right.
I can't.
Why can't everyone see how special I am?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's what becomes the process, right? And the three of us are LMFTs, licensed marital and family therapists, and so we're trained to look at process and the issues between, right? And so I think that's how I think if these things exist, what I see the most is exactly what this process of, but I'm special enough or
Yeah.
I'm not special enough, right? And the secrecy then that becomes a part of this. Because that's what it presents a lot in the office, right? It's like there's all these secrets because there was this belief, this striving for that something had to be unique, special. The jealousy that becomes a part of that secret keeping process as well. Like those are symptoms of this. But I think how I see it is I'm not just looking at the person and thinking, where within you, right, is this arrogant attitude? It's also about like, how is that impacting and how is that presenting, right, the people in their lives?
Well, just real quickly for the listening audience who's not seeing the graphic, I just want to just run through these the diagnostic criteria,
Okay.
and then I want to talk a little bit about that in general. What I want people to pay attention to when you're listening, even the three of us, is how much of when we read this, when I read this out loud, how much are you going? I do that a little bit. I do that a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
So first of all, for the diagnosis part, like something we have to consider is like as it says there on the top, it's a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and a lack of empathy, as indicated by 5 or more of the following. So when we're making that diagnosis, there has to at least be 5, and it has to be persistent.
Yes.
I want to say too, I need to go back and look directly in the DSM, but I want to say it usually begins in childhood, I think, but I'll have to look at that again. But so the number 1 is they have a grandiose sense of self. For example, they exaggerate achievements and talents, expect to be recognized as superior without commiserate achievements. And the second one is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Sounds just like narcissist looking into
The lake.
Right. Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. Number 4, requires excessive admiration. Number 5, has a sense of entitlement. Example, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. Is interpersonally exploitive. That's number 6. So, for example, takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. Number 7, lacks empathy, so they're unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Number 8, is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of them. And the very last one is that they show arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitude. So I know that's a lot to kind of take in.
Yeah.
But I really, did you guys see yourself in there anywhere? You don't have to say where, but I'm just...
No, not one bit. You see the arrogance? There it is.
See, I did really good. I got all 9.
Oh, you're
100%.
special.
I'm
You're the best one.
You're the best
Yeah.
one. You're
Such
the
a
most
middle
special
child.
one.
Yeah.
I think he's a better middle child than me.
Oh, you
Yeah.
made me.
Oh. Yeah. Well, let me know if I'm admiring you enough.
Okay, I will.
That's the
Not quite, but
criteria.
you're getting close.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Never be enough.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of key. Like, you can go through we could read through the diagnostic criteria of all 8 personality disorders. Oh, we left out the antisocial personality disorder, which is the scariest one. I'm glad we left that out.
I can't believe that.
But you can even in that one, you read through the symptoms of it, and you can see yourself a little bit in there because this is about personality. Like it's basically it's taking things that are normal for most of us to an extreme. Yeah. So sure, some of us have a tendency toward arrogance or a tendency toward wanting to be admired or feeling like we're special or but there's kind of a threshold of when that line has crossed, like we are now in this we're very unbalanced in kind of operating in kind of a different reality. And so everybody should be able to see themselves in these.
Sure. And I think, again, that's why that word, that phrase, pervasive pattern, right, is really also important, right? We all have moments of jealousy, right?
And of 5 or more.
And 5, right. So it's a pervasiveness.
I think that's important too, Carrie, because if we go back and we look at a lot of criteria for things, it's 3 or more.
Yes.
But this is 5 or more.
This is 5, right.
I think it's really important.
It's pretty high bar.
Right.
Right? Because meaning that there are probably people that meet 4 criteria, but not 5. So technically...
Well, that's important to say, right? Because
it is.
we've got narcissistic traits without being fully
yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And we can validate an experience with somebody with narcissistic traits while still saying that it doesn't meet full criteria.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, one more criteria. I mean, that might be significantly worse, but it doesn't invalidate the 4
it does
that you're
not,
dealing with
no.
on a day-to-day basis.
And it would be very hard to be in a relationship with someone
with
that
one.
had any of these,
Yeah.
right?
To a high degree.
To a high degree, pervasive enough, right? So you're right. I think, and again, that's one thing about us as treatment professionals. We're not hung up on, oh my gosh, it's only 4, not 5. Well, then we can't talk about it, because it doesn't. To us, it's not. That doesn't matter. It's affecting you. Let's talk about
narcissist.
it. Just a borderline narcissist. So it's no big deal. Easy
You
peasy.
almost-
Baby narcissist.
Yeah, baby.
Well, baby makes sense because, again,
we'll get you there.
Yeah.
narcissism is a healthy developmental stage for kids.
You bet. 2-year-olds are
Well, that's what we're talking about.
perfect example.
That's what, Bradley Shaw.
Right.
John Bradshaw.
Poor John.
What's his name?
John
John
Bradshaw.
Is it
Bradshaw.
John Bradshaw?
Yeah,
Oh,
you got it
probably.
right
Oh,
the second time.
gosh. I thought I had his first name wrong that time. But yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he's saying. Like our children's narcissistic needs, like that. It is very normal for them to be narcissists.
But it's also, as a parent, like when they draw that terrible drawing, you're not lying when you say that's great, because what you're doing is witnessing. Like, it is, you've never been able to draw a giraffe before. I just saw you do it. That is cool. I'm witnessing
sometimes I'm lying.
the special. Well, after the first couple times, the giraffe is still terrible, right?
Yeah.
But the idea of it is, I'm part of something special with you.
Right.
And so
Yeah,
it is
I agree.
authentic in that experience for both the kid and the parent.
Yeah.
And I think that's healthy. I think that's attachment. I think that's creating the internal working model.
Sure.
But this, obviously, when you have parents that are like, and no other 5-year-old has ever in the history of the world been able to draw a giraffe like you. Right. And so now they must treat you, and I expect that, right?
I feel like there should be like a personality disorder for the parents who think their kids are God's gift to the green earth, you know, and like narcissism by proxy or something.
Maybe they're just
you know?
narcissists too, Josh.
Maybe
That's
they're
what
just-
that's what I
I
think.
want,
You want
Maybe
more
they're
terms.
only
I want my
you want
disorder
to by
published.
proxy. You just want to say
Well,
by proxy.
I do think
I
that
do.
in the literature they talk about like
by
narcissistic
proxy.
narcissistic parenting,
Yes.
right? Like, so again, the idea that like your value is based on my opinion, and then you build this kid up to be special, but it's not integrative. It's not like a part of. It's not about the relationship, like you said earlier. Like if my kid and my kid right now is doing a lot of jumping, which is very
yes,
special,
yes.
and so he will jump, and it's this, you know, it's impressive, right, for a kid.
You're like, yeah, you didn't used to do that. Now
Yeah,
you
he
do
didn't use it,
that.
now he does,
Yeah.
and we throw a party every time.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and it's very exciting and very fun, and it's not very anymore. It's not very impressive,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
but the
yeah.
relationship matters so
Is,
much,
right.
Wait till you're 46 and you jump.
And you're
That's
right. So,
impressive.
at the beginning of life, you know.
And your
Yeah.
knees don't buckle.
Yeah, I know. Your
knees
hips don't
hurt.
crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still, you know, you celebrate
Yeah.
with the kid.
Yes.
Not because they're the best thing that's ever existed in the world.
Right.
But because the relationship may be the best thing in the world.
That's right.
You know,
Right.
that really
That's
does
right.
matter quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So when people come into me and they say that, one thing I talk to them about is this idea, you know, first of all, you know, just how the word is used differently than
Right.
how we use it in mental health. And,
Right.
But I do explain like that we all have narcissistic tendencies. All of us do. Like, because this is not, it's not disordered until it reaches kind of a certain point where there's pervasive patterns and things that we all just
Enough
went
of them.
over. But I think this gets into like kind of the last thing I'd like to talk about with you guys is getting into like the real lived experiences that people are having, because that's usually where I take it with
Yeah.
with clients is like,
Yeah.
you know, do you need to label them as a narcissist to say that there's something that you're doing or patterns that we are in that isn't working for me, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, somebody doesn't have to be. We don't have to assign labels to people for you to just not like or want something or to
Sure.
want something different
Sure.
than what you have, you know.
Sure. I think that's part of our job. But to even take it to the actual reality of if you are in a relationship with somebody that meets criteria or close, it can feel like a brick wall. Right? That like,
True.
how are we going to get past this? Because if you don't have
Right.
empathy, right? If you really are in a relationship with somebody who struggles with empathy, right? There's empathy training, right? I mean, you can learn to look empathetic. And I think a lot of people with MPD actually look very empathetic.
Yeah.
It's not coming from the embodied place,
Right.
That
Right.
empathy typically comes from, right? And so it's, you know, when you talk about people coming in and saying, this is my lived experience, the emptiness that they feel, the lack of depth.
Yeah, the shallowness. is what
Exactly. That's what and I think that, again, you that it is enough to be like, yeah, that's going to be really, really
Yeah,
tough.
so I'm glad you said that. It does exist out there. So like, don't be afraid to ask the question
Yes.
to your therapist, or to even wonder, like, is this something that's going on based on what you know about it now, that research it and learn about it. Because yeah, I mean, if you're in a relationship with a truly narcissistic person, that's a very difficult relationship to navigate.
I mean, you could probably put it on the neglect abuse scale,
Yeah.
right? Given
Yes.
given certain things, because
Right.
you wouldn't be able to meet that attachment need of your partner,
Right.
Which is implicit in
Yeah.
a long-term committed relationship,
Yeah.
right?
But even if like through discussion, everything, like if your therapist or whoever you're talking to is like, I don't know if it's that, you know,
Yeah.
you don't need it to be that in order to have a problem with what's
Yes.
going on.
Right.
Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
You know, and so I just don't want to discount that it does truly exist out there, and I don't want
Well,
people
and
to
I think
not ask the questions.
I think it's worth saying what you're saying, Josh. And I also think that sometimes people that are in relationships with people that maybe meet any personality disorder criteria have felt overlooked by treatment, whether it's therapists or doctors or whatever, and they also may be in relationships with people that are actually dangerous and abusive,
100%,
right? And
yeah.
so when we say like, oh, that's only 4 criteria, not 5,
Right.
we could be playing into what the partners, especially your family members, have been experiencing
Yeah.
from any other kind of medical treatment community. And so I also just kind of want
Yeah.
to speak. It is real. It does happen. It has severe consequences,
Yes.
and even if it's on the milder side, so to speak, it's still going to be something to bring in that we want to,
Right.
like, gosh, yeah, that's difficult.
You don't have to have a personality disorder to be dangerous.
You don't. No, you don't.
know, and so
Good way to say it.
Yeah.
Talking about it as a diagnosis, and this can be like a critique of diagnosing in general,
sure.
kind of modern, postmodern, like you said, that it can erase the nuance. It doesn't give us opportunities to explore.
Yes.
And it sets up an expectation. Like say narcissist, you think of like Hannibal Lecter or whatever, right? You
Yes,
think of
right.
like the TV show villains,
Yes.
and you're like, well, he's probably not like that, right?
Right.
And then you don't get into the details, and getting into the details, I think, can that creating that nuance allows you to make new decisions, right?
Absolutely.
And to put names to something that otherwise feels kind of nebulous and scary and too big, right?
I agree. Yes.
Yes, very good point. Nuance.
Yes. So, and then when somebody comes in and they ask me, like, you know, do you think I'm a narcissist? You know, I'm like, I'm kind of like, well, no, because going back to the default, you know, like truly narcissistic people probably isn't coming in to ask that question.
No, they're not going to.
But that doesn't mean that what your partner is seeing and experiencing from you isn't it shouldn't be addressed. And that like the
Sure.
last thing I want that person to do is go home and say, well, my therapist said he doesn't think I'm a narcissist because I'm worried.
So
because
discount, right? Discount your struggles.
like it's
with
like
this,
so I usually talk to them about like we all have narcissistic tendencies, especially when we're working with addicts or highly compulsive people. You know, in my view, or at least anecdotally, the tendencies do seem to be a little higher, but often don't reach that diagnostic criteria. Right. But they are a little bit higher, a little bit more self-absorbed, and a lot of that's because of pain and trauma. You know, like if I have gone through enough crap in life to get this message that life's going to hit me and hit me hard, like it's hard for me to think outside my little bubble.
Yeah.
You know, because if I take my eyes off of me, then something bad happens to me.
Something bad could happen next.
And so, but when people are able to recognize that is pretty much, you know, not the antithesis of
if they're truly asking it. I mean, sometimes people have been told, I don't know. There's nuance.
That's a different personality
that
disorder.
is, perhaps.
That we can talk about later,
But I do think that a lot of times people use addiction and narcissism like as synonyms. And what I think is that when you've been in a relationship with somebody who's struggling with addiction, it feels very narcissistic.
Yeah.
It feels that way, right? That word is describing this pattern, right? And so, again, to me, that's more of a descriptor that people are sharing, right?
I personally wish, this is one of the words I wish people would stop using so regularly. At least stop using it when you're angry.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like if you are in an altercation or something that just happened, and then after, you know, the temperature's been turned down and you're able to breathe and you're doing some reflection and you're and you're talking to your therapist or something like that, and then that word comes up or that's what now I think that's a more effective use of it. But when you're in that moment and you're ranting to your girlfriend or to a buddy at the bar or whatever, like my partner's so dang narcissistic, and that's what I wish people would not do. But we're kind of possessive of our words, our mental health.
We do
words.
love our mental health words.
That's
Yeah.
true. We don't like
Yeah.
them being used in pop culture ways.
I know.
It sets up the expectation for like how you see this person. from
Yes.
now
Yeah.
on, right. And
Yes.
it deletes that nuance. But I think we see this all the time in like betrayal trauma recovery.
Yes, I
Especially
agree
like
with you.
addiction recovery, where like the spouse. Let's use like stereotypical pronouns. Like she might feel like, oh, now I have to pander to him. Like I can't show him my anger.
Right,
Or
right.
it's all about him and his addiction. Or he has no empathy for what I'm going through. He can't understand how hard this is
Yes.
for me. And a lot of times I'll see men who have been unfaithful who'll be like, how long do I have to deal with this? Her anger like, all the time.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense to me that she would feel like he's experiencing some narcissism in that moment. But I think to your point, like if you grow up, and addiction, there's a lot of nuance with this too, but oftentimes addiction, people who experience addiction also experience neglect growing up. And it's like, I have to find some way to feel okay in my life because nobody is helping me with that. And so I, choose all these unhealthy coping behaviors.
Yeah.
And then it is about me, right? Because I don't have the luxury.
Because that's all I know.
Right. I don't have the safety to look outside.
Well,
Right.
I think, I think now you're kind of talking about like what the internal working model, right, of someone
Sure.
that actually struggles with NPD is like, right? And I don't think I even know well what that looks like. I don't think that there's a ton
I
of
don't know
great
if
ideas.
I'm sure I've met someone before.
Sure, yeah,
But
yeah.
I can't pull them out of my memory bank right now.
Oh,
Whoever. So like, it's not like I run across a truly narcissistic person every day in this field.
It's so hard because like, I think you've talked about this before, Carrie. Like when you're talking about personality disorders, you're talking about a feeling you get in the room when you're with somebody.
Yeah.
It's not so obvious all the time. It takes a long time, I think, to accurately
Sure.
diagnose this.
and I think that even if you're a person who's pretty intuitive and you get a feeling, if you're also a critical thinker, you're thinking yourself out of that
Yeah.
intuition,
Yeah.
or you're at least trying to make room for all of it, right?
Sure.
Which is good, but of course we've all met one, and I do think that we're a little bit. Because we're in mental health, we've probably seen it more than other people. But I also think if you look in real like industries where it's about power and competition, I think that it's just going to be more pervasive. I mean, I've never met the tech bros, obviously, but do I think that there isn't probably a more higher likelihood of this symptomology? Yeah, I'm going to put my money down on there is,
Well,
right?
I think I read like lawyers and surgeons are oftentimes have a higher prevalence.
Sure.
And I think there's something to be said about that because like a surgeon, somebody who's going to like look at my brain or whatever, like I want that person to be extremely confident.
Yes.
To say
Yeah.
I know exactly what
I'm
I'm
okay
doing.
with that.
Yes. Right. So it makes sense that they gravitate towards those.
Well,
fields.
and
I
as
just don't want to look at my brain and go, I created that.
Well, sure. Yeah.
That's true. I think though, as a society, like, because if you want to just be, this is random kind of, but if you want to even think about evolution, why haven't we kind of worked these kinks out, right? And it's probably because we need some arrogant surgeons that are like, hey, you know what? I can fix the thing no one else in the world. I need someone that says I can build a rocket. No one else has been
So-
able to. We need that. Now, the way I say it to my clients is you probably don't want to be that person's partner or kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
probably we're grateful that those people are humans on the planet.
So Malcolm Gladwell has a great chapter in, I think it's the book David and Goliath that he wrote, which isn't about, it's not a Christian book or anything. It's not about
Right.
the actual David and Goliath. He's talking about the Davids and Goliaths of the world and things like that. Big fish in small ponds, small fish in big ponds, things like that. He actually has a story about a guy that, I don't want to give it away for people, so go check it out. But it's a guy that became a doctor that had a lot of trauma, had a hard time holding down a job because he had terrible bedside manner, basically, as a jerk. They got him in the right spot. He ended up doing something related to a certain illness that is responsible for why we have treatment for it to this day. And so I'll let you you check that out.
I know
You
the story. I
I'll
love
put
it.
I'll try to remember to link that book in the show notes for people. But it is a really great story and challenging story because he poses the idea of like, like, do we need people like this in the world?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
But I have a little game I want to play with you guys,
Oh, boy.
but let's sum up real quickly. Xander, do you have what are the main points of we're taking away from
The
this?
main points of all this, I think, is to be careful with your words, allow for nuance. Curiosity is a good thing. Ask the question, and I think there's got to be some way to enjoy a level of confidence and assertiveness that isn't narcissistic.
Right.
That's a good way to say that. Yeah.
Disordered narcissism.
Disordered narcissism. Healthy narcissism.
Healthy
I
narcissism.
think that's a pretty good summation.
That's a
Did
great
you wanna add to
summation.
it?
No,
All right,
I'm not
okay.
taking away from that.
All right. So I actually I want to play a rapid fire game with you guys, and I came up with
we're gonna
questions.
do this.
And I wanted Xander to participate. He's always the one asking questions. So this will be with you.
So
and
now
Karen.
I get to say, it depends.
Yeah, you get to be the annoying one.
It's not difficult, but I went with your guys' suggestion of just getting completely off mental health topic. So maybe we can get out of our therapist brain a little bit and do this. All right. So I just got 5 questions for you guys, and we'll see how it goes. All right.
Okay.
All right. For question number 1, and let's go with in order. Like Carrie, you answer first, and then
Yeah, I
Xander
like that.
answers.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So I can steal your answer.
Except when we get to question 2, that's
Oh,
reverse.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Should pets have pet names or human names?
Human names.
Well, I cannot disagree more. Human names for a pet. I just can't imagine going to someone's house and they're saying like, "Oh, hey, I want you to meet Kyle," and then their dog.
But that's
walks
why.
up.
But that's why I like it because it's so funny.
It is
Kyle
funny,
for a
that's
pet would be amazing.
No, that's what I mean. I love it when there are things like, yeah, this is Michael. This is my cat, Michael.
My roommate Jonathan,
Yeah.
and it's a cat. and it
I mean, I
doesn't-
just think that's
This is
so.
Joe
That's
Bob
why I like
Smith.
it because it's so
Okay,
funny.
no,
If
you're right,
everyone's
you're right.
named Daisy, and Fluffy, but I think it's hilarious when you're like, this is William. Like,
right, yeah.
My cat,
This is William the Third.
my cousin's cat is William, and I think that's stinking hilarious.
I changed
love
my
it.
answer. She's right. She's right.
Okay,
That's much
but that's
better.
why the funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All of my pets have been named after human names.
Okay.
Okay. Is cereal better before bed or in the morning?
He goes first this time.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, better how? Like, are we talking better tasting? Are we talking better for your system?
Just like if you were to give it a rank, if you were doing a 5-star review, 1 to 5 stars, like.
I'm gonna say better at night. And I may wake up in a few hours because like my sugar
your
levels are
blood sugar
spiking,
just
right?
crashed
Yeah,
and
or,
all
or
that
it's
good stuff.
crashing. Yeah. What about you, Carrie?
I don't eat cereal anymore, but I love cereal. I
too.
love it, and I want to eat it all day long.
Any time is a good time for cereal.
Anytime is a good time, but I don't eat it anymore.
You know
It's like a
what?
thing of the past.
I think Seinfeld was asked once, like, what his favorite cereal is. He goes, I don't know if I have a favorite. I just really like the idea of eating and drinking at the same time without looking. I was like, "There's a lot of truth
I
in
love
that."
all the stages of it when it's fresh and when it gets soggier. Like I like
Honestly,
the whole
yeah.
experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there are certain cereals like that. I want to get. I know exactly how long that
Yes,
it needs to marinate in
sure.
that milk before
Right.
I want to
Grape
start
nuts.
eating it.
Ooh,
And I know
you
how
need
long
to
is
give it
too
a
long.
minute,
Like,
I don't
yeah.
think you can use the word marinate to talk about cereal.
That's true.
I think that's against the rules.
I let my cereal marinate.
So we all, I think you're a
Or I
cereal
let my
lover.
milk marinate in the cereal. I
Okay,
don't know.
either way,
However you wanna do
either
it.
way.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's supposed to be rapid fire, but okay, so, all right, Carrie, you're up. Okay.
Okay.
Should you? This one was funny to me. Like, should you clap when a plane lands?
No. Do I get a clap every time I'm on time with a client? No, it's just part of the job.
I couldn't agree more.
I see it more as like we beat God again.
No, no, it's a
Isn't-
science.
redefined-
It's science.
It's safer, right? So I don't like
Yes.
clap for myself when I like park
Exactly.
my car,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
safer.
first of all,
or
I've
more
never
dangerous.
been on a plane where people clapped when it landed. First of all,
No,
so I thought it was a funny question, anyways. But
Okay. Like
it
maybe-
does fit my perspective of planes, though. I'm like,
I
what
know.
are we doing,
I know.
people? Like,
Then you
who
need
do
to go-
we think we
go
are?
study it,
And then
Josh.
we're all narcissistic about it because we think we perfected travel.
Well, we did.
It's a lot better than other forms of travel.
Do it right.
sure
I'm not
is.
clapping for you doing your job.
That's right. Okay. Plus, you know, he put it on autopilot anyway.
That's right. He did. He
So
took a nap.
Do you
That's right.
clap for your surgeon when you wake up from surgery?
I
do you
would
clap
if
for your
you
dentist?
fix something on me.
If it was like a big deal, probably.
Yeah.
But
I
then
I
again,
get a
if
lot
like,
of weird things that come out of anesthesia.
Yeah,
true.
probably. Maybe we all clap.
Maybe
we don't
we are.
know.
Okay. Who's up? Xander?
Oh, I don't know.
All right. Do you still buy DVDs?
I do not. I don't because everything's online.
Yeah. No, I just threw a bunch of them away the other day, actually.
I haven't. Really? I don't know if I could do that.
You gotta hold on to them because soon they'll be collector's items.
Yeah.
And you'll
Yeah,
sell them for
I don't need any
$1,000.
more. I'm not a stuff person. I
Sell
don't
'em.
need any. I am not spending time
Man,
$5
there is
of
a store
DVDs.
on 63rd and May that like buys all that stuff.
But they don't. It's like I tried to sell books.
Yeah, they don't
You
do
carry in
that.
this huge thing and
Yeah.
like here's you $1.20.
Yeah, I had that happen recently too.
It's not even worth driving over here.
Brand new.
I know. No, so I don't. I'm done.
Yeah, I had that happen once too. I haven't bought a DVD in a very long time, but I really want to. Every time I see them in the bins and stuff, like I really want to get this DVD. But
So you can
why
find it
am I
online
doing
for
this?
free, probably. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Last one. Are self-checkouts better than cashiers? Better for you, not are they like better than cashier? Like, I'm not saying is AI better than
And human
cashiers
beings.
are low. No, but are they? Do you like self-checkout better than a cashier checking you out?
It depends.
It depends, Carrie says.
Okay.
If I have a lot, I want a human being.
Yeah.
If I'm buying 3 things, I'm way faster just running up and scanning it. So I like having both, and I think we still understaff live human beings. Maybe Crest does a good job, but like other stores,
I think that. Well, you go ahead.
Well, Josh, I'm economically conscious, so I'm wanting to provide a job. So of course, I go to the person when it's convenient for me,
Right.
but not when it's not.
So I think there might be. I'd love to see a study done on this. I think there might be a lot of truth to based on like quantity. Because like when I'm grocery shopping, I do not want to.
go scan
I
everything.
want somebody else to do that. And also too, I think I think there's also this element of like I did all the work to pick out these groceries, to load them on the conveyor belt. Like I don't want to have to scan them and
Bag 'em.
them. And I think I even felt that way when Walmart went to the self-bagging. Like Crest still bags them for you.
Yeah.
You know, but when Walmart went to like, they scan them, but you bag them, like, I get like this little tiny break.
Like
when
I feel
you're scanning.
like when you have your checkout person, it's like it's teamwork. Like you're scanning them, putting in the bag, and I'm loading them on and putting it's like high five. We
Yeah,
did
working
it
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think there's something to be said to like I'm a people person, so like I don't mind like chatting it up. Sometimes they do not want to talk. I get it.
Yeah,
don't know me.
they just wanna work.
But I do think I kind of miss seeing people behind the counters at grocery stores, for example.
Yeah.
Not because I want to go and chat it up, just miss kind of
It being human place.
we're just so disconnected. But anyways,
True.
We could go on. and
Good
on about
rapid
that.
fire, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay.
I
Well
came.
done.
So in all honesty, ChatGPT came up with 4 of those, but I came up with the DVD one
Okay. All right.
myself.
Good for you, Josh.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I'm special.
I'll validate.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope it was helpful. Again, just remind everybody, check your show notes. Sometimes we have a lot of information in there. Sometimes it's little, but we'll do our best to put links and stuff so you can get the most value out of each episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, to follow us or subscribe to our channel. And then, of course, if you're listening to it on the audio podcast, then just take a minute to give us a review, because it just helps the algorithm so that we can get information out to more people. So appreciate Carrie and Xander for doing this with me, and we'll see everybody back next time.